Hello everyone and welcome in today's lecture, which is technically the first lecture in the syllabus of this term. In this term, we are going through a wonderful journey in the revision of the most important tools that you need in your formal writing and presentation, or in general in your formal English language usage. And today's lecture is about tenses usage in formal language, or revising the tenses usage in formal language. All the material of this term will based on the book Oxford Grammar for EAP. EAP stands for English for Academic Purposes by Keane Patterson. The book is very good book for EAP, and I intentionally used a lot of examples as they are in the book to make them the content or the material of this term rich with grammar as well as vocabulary. Now let's start with the present simple and the continuous. First, we need to start with the present simple. And the present simple, as we learned from the first term of this course, we know well that the present simple is used when we talk about facts or factual description. We are describing a fact. For example, when we heat a substance, its particles move faster. Everyone knows this fact. It is a fact. It is not a new fact. It is a fact, and everyone agree with this fact. And as another usage of this tense is talking about regular activities. It is also fact, but in form of regular activities. For example, 49,000 people entered the underground station at Waterloo. These people, this number of people, everyone, every day they enter the underground station. Thus, it is a regular activity. So, talking about regular activity, we need to use a simple present or present simple. Also, describing a process. For example, you conducted an experiment, or you've done some stuff. You've done any kind of stuff, and you need to write this down or present this work for others. In this case, you need to use present simple in form of passive voice. And here I would like to highlight using passive voice when you talk about a process. It is quite necessary to use some passive voice, because using passive voice in this situation makes the sentence stronger and more acceptable. For example, the process of dyeing a fabric can be written in this way: the fabric is then washed. Is then washed, dyed, and cut into patterns. Thus, the fabric is first washed. It is washed and then dyed and then cut. The passive voice, as everyone knows, that the passive voice is using the verb be with the part participle of the verb, or the part participle of the infinitive. So washed is the part participle of wash. Dyed is the part participle of dye. And cut is the part participle of cut. When you talk about the process, you need to use present present simple and passive voice. As another usage is giving instruction. If you give an instruction, if you are an instructor and give instruction for others, let's stick with the same fabric example. Then and you are the instructor and you need to give the instruction for others. So you need to say, then you wash the fabric, dye it, and then cut it. Wash it, dye it, cut it. So giving an instruction, and to give an instruction, you need to use the present simple. Also, summarizing or reporting the main argument of other academics. Summarizing or talking about the funding or the or the argument, the funding or the argument of the other academics. For example, Steele explains here. We use explains in form of present simple. Steve is the name, is a name of a researcher. He explains that survivors of tragical events often undergo a period of guilt. So they undergo a period of guilt after a tragical events. These facts, Steve explains. We are reporting the others. They undergo period of guilt. And another usage is talking about the plots. Let's say you've done some figures, you've done some experiment, and you represent these experiments in the plots and figures, plots and tables, and you need to talk about them in your presentation or in your writing. In this case, you definitely need to use the present simple. For example, the figure shows the table explains, the table shows, and so on. Present continuous is used in academic writing when you're talking about something is occurring now. It is occurring now. I'm presenting to you. I'm presenting a revision of tenses to you. I am presenting. So it is continuous action. It's also used if the action is continue to change at the moment of talking or around the moment of talking. For example, more people are shopping online these days. More people are shopping online these days. That means that the number of people who are shopping online is increasing. Is not the same number of people shopping every day online. The number of people is increasing. And then in the present simple, we used a number of people enter the station, the underground station, because we know that this number every day, this number every enters the station. But in this example, the number of people continues to increase. Those we have to use more people are shopping online these days, and the service standards that consumers expect are rising. As long as the more people shopping, the service for consumers expect are rising. The service are rising, as a consequence of more people are shopping online. And we remember from the last term that not every single infinitive or every single verb can be used with continuous. State verbs such as believe, know, mean, like, prefer, want, belong, own, possess, contain, depend, do not use with the continuous. And I guess they are classified much better in our lecture in our lecture in the last term. Past simple and continuous is the second tense we need to revise. First, past simple we has to use with the events that already finished. The events the events that occurred in the past before the time of speaking. Before the time of speaking. For example, the Mongol Empire controlled a large part of India for more than 300 years. This means the sentence obviously means that the Mongolian people are not controlling India at the moment. They did control it. They did control it in the past for more than 300 years ago. And here I put was controlling. Was controlling because as Arabic speakers we have a problem of using was controlled or controlled. Because of our native language, our tongue, always using the word cannot. We use cannot, and cannot is not used is not exist in English. So when we talk about an events in the past, we need to stick with past simple tense, not using was, because a lot of Arabic speakers translate was as cannot. And cannot is not used in English. It doesn't exist in English. Those again we need to read the sentence here. The Mongol Empire controlled, not was controlling, controlled a large part of India for more than 300 years ago. Now, if we got two events in the past, two events in the past, and one of them is the background event, and the other one occurred in the middle of it. We need to use the past simple continuous and the background event and the past simple and past simple and the other event which overlap the background event. For example, at the time of his death, Einstein was still working on his attempt to unify unify the laws of physics. Thus, the background events is working on his attempt. Einstein, the physician, was working on his attempt to unify the laws of physics. But his death overlapped this event. Overlapped this event and stopped him to continue in his working, in his attempt to unify the physics, the laws of physics. As an alternative way to talk about past, we can use used to instead of using past simple. And in this case, we are talking about events occurred in the past, and they do not occur at the moment. They do not occur at the moment. For example, When I was younger, I'm talking about myself. When I was younger, I used to play football. That means I played football when I was younger, but now I'm not playing football. I do not play football at the moment, but in the past I did. So I used to. Another example is before the Clean Air Act of 1956. The Clean Air Act is a law. Is a law in Britain that established in 1956. Before this law, London used to suffer from severe air pollution known as smog, which is the combination of smoke and fog. So before this date, London was covered by smog, or London suffered from severe air pollution, or London used to suffer, and used to suffer is the strongest way to say it, because after the action is totally stopped at this moment, and then at that moment, and now London doesn't suffer from the smog air pollution. The other important tense in academic writing and the presentation is the present perfect and the simple past, and the differences between the usage of both of them. We in the first term of this course we already studied the present perfect and the simple and the past simple. But here we summarizing the differences between them. When we use past simple, we actually the sentence actually focuses on the past, on the event in the past. For example, in 2004 and 2005, scientists measured a land temperature of 70.7 degrees Celsius in the Lut desert of Iran. The sentence focuses on the past, on the time of measuring the highest temperature on Earth. Time of measuring in 2005, and because 2005 is in the past, in this sentence we have to use past simple, because the sentence is the past focus. Now, another sentence, no higher temperature has been recorded on Earth since then. Now this sentence is talking about some events occurred in the past, but in the present focus. In the present focus, the sentence focuses on the present. Since then. When we say since then, we focus on the present. No higher temperature has been recorded since then on Earth since then. So we can understand that the sentence focuses on the present, not on the past. But it talks about the events that occurred in the past, but the focus on the present. Another example on the same way, or in the same direction, this is the only time scientists have recorded a temperature above 70 degrees. Again, the focus of the sentence is in the present, not in the past. There's nothing refers to the past, and then the focus, then the meaning of the sentence, all the meaning of the sentence focuses on the present, not on the past. In academic writing, We use the present perfect to refer to earlier studies or earlier funding or when we talk about generally accepted theories or hypotheses. In all these cases, we need to use present perfect tense. For example, studies have shown all the studies conducted in the past, but they have proved something, and the consequence of these studies on the present, or another way, the, because they shown something, we conducted another study. Thus, the focus of this sentence, these have shown, is the present focus, not past focus. It has become accepted after a lot of studies occurred or conducted in the past. It has become accepted. It has been accepted. Or mathematicians have proved. They have proved something, but they did their research or their experiments or whatever in the past, but they proved, and the sentence here is the present focus, not past focus. Let us read this example and then go to the explanation. General Motors has been designing its new family salon for the past 6 months. The General Motors, the company, has been designing its new family salon car. They are designing a new family salon car for past 6 months. What we understand from this sentence? We understand that General Motors started designing a new model of salon car 6 months ago. The event started 6 months ago, and they still working on it at the moment of speaking. So they started 6 months ago, and they still working on it. They still working on it at the time of speaking. Those we need to use a present perfect continuous tense, because the event has not stopped now. The event has not stopped now. They are still working on the new design. They haven't finished it. They're still working on it, and the designing the event is still active. The event is still active. We also use this tense, present perfect continuous, with for, since, so far, and up until now, all year, etc. A lot of words can be used with a lot of words refers to the continue of the event. And remember that state verbs, as we studied in the last term and in this lecture, earlier in this lecture, do not use with the continuous form. Present continuous, past continuous, and perfect continuous. Past perfect and past simple. Actually, the concept of past perfect is exactly the same as the concept of present perfect. But the difference between them, the only difference between them, that the time of the verb, the time of the tense. In the present perfect, the time of the tense is now, and the event is related to the past. But in the past perfect, the time is in the past, but it is related to another event occurred before the time of the verb, but it is related to it. It is related to it. In this sense, we can say that past perfect is used when we talk about two events occurred in the past, but one before another. One event occurred before another. For example, G&M business machines lost a significant percentage of the market share between 2004 and 2010 because it had failed to anticipate the growth in Chinese demand. The principle or the main event of this sentence is lost a significant percentage of the market share. General Motor, G&M is General Motor business machines lost a significant percentage of its market share. This in the past. This occurred in the past. Lost is in the past. Lost is the past simple or is the past simple tense. Lost is the past simple tense. But this occurred because there is another event occurred before this event which has led to this event, which is the feeling in anticipating the growth in Chinese demand. Thus, the feeling to anticipating growth in Chinese demand occurred first, and then they feel to anticipate the growth in Chinese market, and this led to another event which is the loss of a significant percentage of its market share. Also, we can use the past perfect preferentially with some verbs connected with the speaking or thinking. Connected with the speaking or thinking, such as admit verb, these verb, admit, agree, believe, claim, confirm, deny, know, realize. All these verbs are connected with the speaking or thinking. For example, a number of MPs. MPs stands for member of parliament. So member of parliaments. Member of parliaments claim that Tony Blair had misled the parliament during the debates over the Iraq war. Those, in this sentence, some people in the parliament claimed in the past simple, claimed that Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of Britain at that time, had misled. Those claimed in the simple past and had misled because the event of misleading occurred before the event of claiming. Those the MPs claimed that Tony Blair had misled Parliament during the debates over the Iraq war. Talking about the future can be done by using different ways, many ways. We can use will, for example, which is the most common way to talk about the future. Also, we can use be going to, is going to, or are going to. We can use present simple or present continuous. We can use be due to, is due to, or are due to, be about to, etc. We have a lot of ways to talk about the future. We also have a future continuous and the future perfect. And this slide and the coming slides, we will get an example for each one of them. First of all, let's talk about the be going to. In this term, we are talking about something certain. We are talking about something planned already, decision already taken. There is a certainty with using be going to. For example, I'm presenting something to you. I planned everything in my presentation already, previously. So thus, I can say in my presentation today, I'm going to talk about water conservation. Thus, because I'm planned for everything in my presentation, I can say I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about is much better than using I will talk about. Much better, stronger. The sentence will be stronger. I'm going to talk about water conservation. Also, we can say the same sentence referring to the future by different ways. For example, a group of private universities in Germany is going to introduce a fast-track medical degree course. To explain this sentence, we need to understand what is fast-track medical degree. Fast-track in undergraduation studying is doing the same degree. For example, you are doing your bachelor, which needs 4 years within 2 years. So you are accelerating your degree. You accelerating your degree by following a special program. This kind of programs called fast track. Thus, the sentence again. Let me read the sentence again. A group of private universities in Germany is going to introduce. They are going to introduce a fast track medical degree course. Is going to. Now, because they are already planned for this, we can say is going to. But we can say the same sentence with the same meaning by using another terms, another expression. For example, here, as explained here, we can replace going to by using simple or present simple or present continuous. How to do that? Changing is going to by intended to or is intending to. To be, some private university in Germany is intending to introduce, or some private university in Germany intend to, or is intending to, plan to, or is planning to. All these expressions give the same meaning in the future, and the same meaning of or previously planned event, or something certain. In contrast, will almost always used with events with less certainty, with probability, less certainty. And in this sense, we can say that will is used with preferentially with some kind of verbs like doubt, expect, hope, think. All these verbs refer to uncertainty in the sentence. For example, some critics expect. Those there is no certainty in this sentence. Some critics expect that the new scheme will fail quite quickly through lack of public support. Those, because the certain is not the sentence is not certain. Some critics, some people criticize the scheme by claiming that the scheme will quickly fail through the lack of public support. Because of there's no public support, the scheme will fail. Thus, again, will is used in less certainty sentences with a probability, with sentence with a probability, and with higher certainty or with less probability. We've got some certainty with the sentence. We can use is going to, are going to, be going to, present simple, and present continuous. When the event is not static, is continuous in the future, we have to use future continuous tense. Future continuous tense. For example, let's read this example. By this time next year, we are talking about the future. This time next year, it is possible that Burley and Sharp will be exporting more of its tractors to China than to Europe countries. Here, because we are talking about the future, and the event is continuous, is not static, is continuous in the future, in the year, and the next year. It is continuous in the next year. Within the next year, so the event will continue within the year, within the next year, the whole next year. So we need to use, instead of using will export, we need to use will be exporting more of its tractors to China than to Europe countries. Also, talking about the future, sometime there are some events occurred before the time of the verb in the future, before the time of the time of the time that we are talking about in the future. And in this situation, we need to use future perfect. Will have a PP, or sometime we need to use a perfect continuous. Will have been plus verb plus ing form. For example, these are two examples for present perfect, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. For future perfect, we read this example. Many commentators believe that 6 or 7 of the smaller American merchant banks will have gone into the receivership by the time next year. Those were first, we are talking about the future because we are talking about next year. But in this time next year, there's another event occurred before this time. This time next year, there's another event which is many smaller American merchant banks will have gone into the receivership. Those the main tense of the sentence is this time next year, but there is another event occurred before this time, or will occur before this time next year. Those, in this case, we need to use will have gone into receivership. Will have gone into receivership. Another example, Railton PLC. PLC stands for Public Limited Company. So it's company. Basically, it's company. Railton Company, or PLC, will have been opening in China for a quarter of a century. This occurred next year, in a year's time. In a year's time, not now. In a year's time, Railton PLC will have been opening in China for a quarter of a century. Again, we are talking about a future tense. It's a future tense, but the main focus of the sentence is within the next year or within a year, Ryalton PLC will have been opening. They will have been opening for for a quarter of a century, for 25 years. Those we have to use present, future perfect continuous in talking about this kind of sentences. As mentioned earlier, talking about the future takes many forms. For example, using be due to, be about to, be unlikely, be likely, be certain to, all these forms to talk about the future. For example, present tense. The present tense is used in this way. Present tense verb be to infinitive in the form be to infinitive can be used to talk about the future. For example, the UK and the Argentina are to or are due to sign a new trade agreement in January next year. First, the sentence talking about next year. It's talking about the future. In the future, the UK and Argentina are to sign a new agreement or are due to sign a new agreement, a new trade agreement. All these ways we can use to talk about the future. Also, we can use be about to infinitive or be on the point of, be on the point of, be about to, due to, all these ways. For example, scientists are about to test a new prototype of a scheme to cool part of the atmosphere. In the same way, we can say scientists are on the point of testing. Scientists on the point of testing. Scientists are about to. Scientists are due to. Scientists are to test. All these ways, same. All these ways give the same meaning. The same meaning in talking about the future. Also, be unlikely, be certain to, plus the infinitive. For example, the government is unlikely. The government is unlikely to announce new reforms to the House of Lords until after the next election. So we are talking about the future, and we use the be unlikely to. Those all these forms can be used to talk about the future in a formal language. In formal language, sometimes we need to talk about the future in the past. This occurs usually we're talking in history, talking about history. And if we need to do so, we need to change will to would, and we need to change is, are to was, were, be going to, was, were going to. For example, President Obama was to attend the opening event. This is in the past. Was to attend the opening event, but a security alert changed the situation. Here we are talking about an event in the past, but a future of this event was to attend. He didn't attend them. He didn't attend them the opening event. He didn't attend the event because of the security alert. So this is what's called the future and the past. Another example, Kirsten PLC was about to go, or was to go. Or we can, in another sentence, was about to, was due to. So we need to change all verb to be in the past. Was about to go bankrupt when a new order from Japan came through. So this is what's called the future in the past. And this always we need this form of sentences when we talk about historic events or something like that. Also, was to or where to can be used to emphasize the importance of something. In this case, the sentence is neither in the future nor in the past, but the sentence is used to emphasize the importance of something, the importance of the event. For example, the opening of a series of branches in the USA was to prove or was to be an expensive mistake for the UK retailer, Bork and Marson. Bork and Marson. So the sentence is there's no clear tense of this sentence, but it uses to emphasize the importance or the expensive mistake that the UK retailer was about to do. So in this case, the you was or were to used to emphasize the event. At this point, we reach the end of this lecture. Thank you for listening.